All right, welcome to another episode of our Beyond the Numbers video series where we speak to Valley leaders about what advice they would have for themselves if they could go back to the staff or senior level and why they love accounting. Today we're speaking with Colby Ashton. He is the business controller at Edwards Vacuum, which is a part of Atlas Copco. I wanted to speak to Colby today because I've known him for years, and every time I talk to him, he just has such great advice and words of wisdom. So when I asked him if he would be a guest, I was excited that he said yes. So no pressure, Colby, but are you ready to get started?
I am ready. Thank you.
All right. So if you could go back to when you were that staff or senior accountant, what advice would you have for yourself?
I appreciate giving these questions in advance. I've been thinking about it for quite some time. I think if I could do one thing differently, I never got my CPA. I gave it a shot once without studying, and that didn't work out very well, as you could imagine. And this was 100 years ago when you had to take all 4 sections and had to pass.
In person, right? You had to go in person.
Yeah, in person, with paper and pencil, the whole deal. And so I never really knuckled down and tried to get that CPA. Okay. So now ultimately my career's worked out great. I went back and got my MBA and moved kind of more over into the finance side of the house rather than the FP&A side of the house rather than the controller side of the house. But I think it would have been beneficial for my career to get that CPA. So my advice is knuckle down as a staff or a senior, get whatever letters you can after your name. There's not going to hurt you from a career perspective to have a certified management accountant, certified public accountant, whatever it is, certified financial analyst. Just knuckle down and get those certifications because you need something on your resume to set you apart from the other 300 candidates that your potential future managers looking for. Right. And so now I, as a manager, those are the type of things that I look for. What kind of certifications, in addition to their work experience and whatnot, but I'm looking for certifications just to help me whittle down the pile. I may have somebody that's super qualified that doesn't have any certifications or letters after their name, but I can't afford to take the time as a hiring manager to tease out that candidate. I need something easy on their resume to see that they've gotten that done.
Okay. Again, I've known you for a while. I was wondering if you were going to say something like that because, I mean, you started out in public accounting and it was just always that CPA. So then you made a smart decision to get your MBA. And then I noticed in your career, you did go more of that finance route. So then they didn't always ask you, are you a CPA? Are you a CPA?
Now it's interesting. I've got this title of business controller, and I do spend some of my time on the controller side of the house, but really I'm more of a finance manager. I'm more doing analysis and whatnot. I'm doing monthly close and helping with that and whatnot. But still I'm still on that finance side. And so that MBA has proved to be fruitful from that perspective.
Okay, good. All right. So next question. Tell us either why you love accounting or what value accounting has added in your career.
It was interesting when I was making my degree choice. I thought in college I was going to be an electrical engineer, and I took a math class that was didn't count toward the degree, and I didn't do very well. Let's say I couldn't understand, nor could the professor understand me, and it was a struggle. I could have probably knuckled down and got it, but really I was looking. I wouldn't say it was on a whim, but there wasn't a whole lot of a forethought to what else should I do if I'm not going to be an engineer. Except for I realized I enjoyed the analytical side of things. I liked hard numbers. I liked there to be a right answer, not a subjective answer to questions. And so I made this choice to get an accounting undergrad. And the biggest benefit by far has been the flexibility of that degree to do so many different things and work for so many different companies. Everybody needs accountants, and it doesn't matter whether they're Firestone and making tires or whether they're the city of Phoenix or a government entity. Everybody needs accountants, and it's served me very well to have that degree that I can use anywhere. I've only had one little time in my career of unemployment, and that's because I was kind of being picky after I left a job. But that unemployment was relatively short, and I could have gotten something right away. This degree from accounting, from a career perspective, has been fantastic from a job security place.
Do you feel that it adds value just even when you went and got your MBA and now that you're doing more finance things, that you kind of understand the numbers better because you know where they come from? Or
Absolutely, 100%. I'm currently hiring for a financial analyst, and one of the big things that I looked for is if they had an accounting background, because no matter even if you're on the financial analyst side of the house, the FP&A side, having an understanding of debits and credits and what an accrual does and everything, super critical to that role. You could probably get by without it with a finance degree. You do get some basic accounting courses, I believe. But no, it's been super helpful. It's been, again, a benefit to my career for people to see that I have that accounting undergrad. Spent some time in public accounting and in industry doing closing the books every month, et cetera, plus that MBA side. But that has been a critical part of me getting hired and getting good jobs for sure.
Okay. Yeah, because I understand I even hate writing journal entries. I'm a recruiter, but I have an accounting background. And it's like, how do I write a journal entry? It's hard to teach debits and credits, right? It's easier to teach how to analyze than how to write a journal entry and understand a journal entry, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Colby, any other piece of advice you have for staff and senior accountants that are coming up in their career?
No, I think that's it. Like I said, just knuckle down and get those certifications. Go back to school if you want. Learn good learnings. More learning is always better.
Okay.
I think the other thing is, I was reflecting on my career. Thanks for asking me to come back around to this. You have to make a decision about whether or not to change companies. And it used to be the standard norm was, hey, I'm going to work 40 years for this company and retire, et cetera. That's not the norm anymore. That said, I think I might have done a little bit too much job hopping in my career.
Okay.
And so, but make sure you balance that. If you're hopping every 6 months to a year, eventually a hiring manager is going to look at your resume and say, this candidate is not going to stay here. And if I'm going to invest the time in training this person and having them come in, I don't want them gone in 6 months to a year. So it's a good balance. By far and away, my biggest advances in my career have been from company changes, job changes. And so 100%, you got to look at that. Always take care of yourself from a career perspective. Make sure that you can support yourself and your family and your pay is good. But be careful and don't overdo that side of it. Make sure that work on internal promotions, which are just as good from a learning perspective as an external promotion. And that's it.
Okay, that is great advice, Colby. I appreciate your time today. Stay tuned when we speak to another Valley leader as they provide their advice and perspective on what they might do differently when they were a staff or a senior accountant. But Colby, we definitely appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Bernadette. It's good chatting with you.
You too.